And we have lots of stuff going on. So before we formally begin our worship service, I'd like to tell you about a few of those things where you can be involved. On each Sunday, we light candles in the sanctuary and along the windows to mark sacred moments in our lives. Although we do have a time set aside during worship to note these candle lightings, we encourage you to light candles at any time before or during the service when you feel moved to do so. And now for all of you wannabe singers and who have an inner rocker that's itching to be released, we have a vocal boot camp coming up at First UU. Have you ever been interested in wanting to sing but didn't know where to start? Have you wanted to learn more about your voice outside of a choir or vocal ensemble? Now's your chance. Join longtime First UU Church of Austin vocalist and teacher Bethany Ammon in a unique experience to have a group voice lesson for adults. This nurturing and supportive environment will provide an opportunity to dig a little deeper into the inner workings of your voice. Join us Wednesday night, July 30th, here in the sanctuary. We're looking for people to facilitate or co-facilitate Chalice Circles next year so we can expand these small groups that provide deep and meaningful connections within the church community. The time commitment is minimal and training is provided, so no experience is needed. If you're interested in learning more, please contact ministers@austinuu.org. We are also seeking folks who have participated in a Wellspring small group in the past who might be willing to co-facilitate a group. Enrollment for Chalice Circles and Wellspring happens in August, so we'd like as many facilitators as possible before then. If you're curious about Chalice Circles and want to learn more, you're invited to participate in a sample Chalice Circle experience called A Taste of Soul, based on the Soul Matters curriculum. There are 2 sessions on Sunday, August 3rd. One is in person after church, the other is on Zoom in the evening. Please check the Friday newsletter and sign up if you're interested. Also, this is something that should be of interest to all of us during these difficult times. Join us after the service today for Ask a Therapist, a relaxed, informative Q&A session with licensed marriage and family therapist Brooke Becker. This is your opportunity to ask any therapy-related questions, whether you're curious about how to start therapy, seeking relationship advice, looking for mental health resources, or just wondering how to find the right therapist. A table will be set up in House and Hall for one-on-one or small group conversations. And finally, each Sunday, one of our caring companions is designated to be available at the front of the sanctuary after the service to listen to any immediate pastoral needs and assist you with connecting to additional pastoral support if you would like. Today's caring companion is Susan Thompson. Susan, will you please stand and wave your arms so that we can thank you and folks can identify you after the service. Now let all of us who have gathered in beloved community, whether in virtual space or in person, join our spirits in worship together. Ow.
Take your hand off the middle. There.
Good morning. Whether you're joining us online or here at the church, welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin. We are a spiritual community dedicated to a free and responsible search for truth, meaning, and beauty. I'm Chris Jimmerson, the lead minister. I am white at the outer edge of the bell curve for late middle-aged, and my pronouns are he, him. It is a joy to be with you this morning. I especially want to welcome you if you're new to the congregation. If you're joining us remotely, and if you can, please say hello in the comments and let us know from where you're watching the service. If you're here in person, please join us for the social hour after the worship service. Either way, we invite you to go to www.austinuu.org, click on worship, then scroll down and click on our online visitor form. If you would fill that out, we would love to get to know you just a little bit better. Here we welcome everyone, every beginning and path, every beautiful expression of human flowering, all pronouns, all the ways and ones we love, all abilities or disabilities, each and every one of you. You are welcome here. You belong here. We come from a long tradition of sensing that an ocean of divine love flows through each of us. And it's in this tradition that I invite you to greet the holy among us this morning, either in the comments online or by turning to those around you here at the church.
Good morning again. I'm Angela Smith, and I have the honor of being your lay leader today. I am white, 80 years young, and my pronouns are she, her, and I can say with absolute confidence that neither I nor any of the persons involved in the worship service today can be found in any Epstein file or list. I hope that's true. Join me now in the words for the lighting of the chalice. This is the flame we hold in our hearts as we strive for justice for everyone. This is the light we shine upon systems of oppression until they are no more. Warmth we share with one another as our struggle becomes our salvation. Our call to worship is from the infamous Anonymous. May we be reminded here of our highest aspirations and inspired to bring our gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. May we know once again that we are not isolated beings, but connected in a mystery and miracle to the universe, to this community, and to each other. Now please rise either in body or spirit, and let us sing together number 1008 from the Teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
One of the things that holds First Unitarian Universalist Church of Austin together is that absolutely none of us are involved in the Epstein files. And we have a common religious purpose. That common religious purpose is our mission. The congregation wrote it together, we put it on the wall here in our sanctuary, and we say it together every Sunday so that we can carry it with us in our hearts throughout the week. Let us do so now. Together, we nourish souls, transform lives, and do justice to build the beloved community.
young white human with short blue hair. It is now the time in our service for all ages, so if you are someone of absolutely any age, feel free to come on up and join me on the stage. Thank you. Right. Any more friends? Who have we got today? Who wants to come on up? Hey, hello. What a cool dress you have. Hello, hello. All of our friends, big and small, and everything in between. Hello. All right. So, I don't have a storybook today. Instead, we're going to talk about something. So first, I have a question for everyone. Everyone out here as well. Raise your hand if you've ever been afraid to be yourself. Yeah, I have, definitely. It can be really scary, right? It might feel like no one will like who you are inside, or even like you're not allowed to be who you are. And when we can't be ourselves, we might pretend to be someone else. So we might put on a mask, right? We wear a mask of who we think the people around us want us to be, and we pretend to be that person. Sometimes we wear that mask for so long that we forget how to take it off, or we even forget what we look like underneath it, right? So, this is where our community comes in. Do we know what the word community means? Yeah. Community is a big group of people who love and help each other. A lot of the time, a community has people who think the same way about something, who are happy and sad for the same reasons. But a community also loves the ways that everyone is different and how we can all learn new things from each other because we're all different. So, the folks who are staying here for service today are going to hear about some of the communities that we actually have here in church. We make lots of little communities inside of our big community so that all the different kinds of people who come here can find one that makes them feel really seen and understood under their mask. Finding a community that is just right for you can make it a lot easier to take off that mask and be yourself. When you're with people who actually understand you, really, really love you, it gets a lot less scary. Our communities, big and small, can make us brave enough to kind of take a little peek out, maybe learn who we actually really are inside. So, I have lots more of these blank masks in the back for us to decorate. You can have fun, make your mask look however you want, and then take it home to remind you to maybe try to take off your own mask when you can, that invisible one. Because the mask might be pretty, but you, underneath it, are much more beautiful. Okay, let's head on back, let's decorate.
Good morning. I'm Leo Collas, and I signed the membership book at First UU back in 2003. And for the past 5 or 6 years, I've served on the Stewardship Council, and that's a job that a few of us are volunteer for to help inspire members to make a pledge to keep this place going. I don't know if you know this, but you, the members of our own First UU, actually own this place. If you're a member, you own this place. There's no money that comes from the mothership. There's no, the UUA. They don't give us any money. Quite the opposite, we give them money. And it's all up to us. And so, at a recent protest, ICE protest, Reverend Chris introduced me to someone saying, "This is Leo. He pretty much runs things at church." And you can imagine my shock to hear this because, of course, I always thought Peggy Morton ran things. But, that's what I love about this place and what I want to talk to you about. Everyone here plays a role in the work that collectively is known as First UU. We're all First UU. For decades, you and those who've gone before you have changed the complexion of Austin for the better. You've softened its racist tendencies, you've helped it embrace our LGBTQ friends, and you've provided truth and resources to the fight for women's bodily autonomy, including everything that we know everybody does to call out the atrocities of ICE and be with our immigrant friends. Now, as I do research about the history of this congregation, I find that it's the members, people like you, who have been the force behind so many of the accomplishments. Surprisingly, it's not the ministers. Now, we love our ministers, of course, and they do fabulous things, but part of what they do is they make it possible for all of this to happen. It means that the values that we hold dear start deep within each of us. We do things to change our world. Now, social justice is a thing that I'm pretty passionate about, and I know many of you are too. And I know that some of you embrace your spirituality through meditation, through contemplation, through the skill of comforting other people. And there are folks in this congregation who write books, who teach, and who find their spirituality in vocations of parenthood. All of that is wonderful, and it makes us a strong and healthy congregation. Together, we make this place what it is. But this congregation never did thrive just on good intentions. Like thoughts and prayers, they don't go very far in paying the bills. Our forebears gave generously to this place, and now this church needs our financial support to keep the lights on, to pay the salaries of the staff, and to make this place the sanctuary from the madness of the world that we all know it is. We sit in pews that someone else bought for us. We are in a building that other people built for us, and we are enjoying an atmosphere, a culture that was cultivated over time by Unitarian Universalists in Austin we never got to meet. But they hoped we would be here. They had faith in us. I know I owe them a debt of gratitude, and I know that I want those who come after me to have the wonderful benefit of this place. That's why I want to carry out the tradition, the legacy, and the good work that First UU has always been known for. I want to continue to nudge Texas and Austin away from the hateful white Christian nationalism by preserving our meditation groups, our book groups, our LGBTQ outreach groups, and the myriad of organizations, large and small, who depend on this place to share their message. Please give generously during the pledge drive. Progressive faith needs our support. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. Through your words, actions, and gifts, you demonstrate what First UU means to you. And now is the time of the service when you have a chance to prove what First UU means to you personally. This is the time when we commit to the mission and ministries of this church by making an offering. We give out of our own so that together we might build a better world. If you're visiting with us today, please allow the plate to pass you by. You're our guest. You can give in several ways. You can give online or by texting your contribution using the instructions that will be showing on the screen during the offering, or if you're here in person, by placing an offering in the basket the ushers are about to pass. Here in the sanctuary, the ushers will now collect our offering. All blessings on your gifts and on you as givers. Our reading today is from The Healing Wisdom of Africa by Malidoma Somé. Whether they are raised in indigenous or modern culture, there are two things that people crave: the full realization of their innate gifts and to have these gifts approved, acknowledged, and confirmed. There are countless people in the West whose efforts are sadly wasted because they have no means of expressing their unique genius. In the psyches of such people, there's an inner power and authority that fails to shine because the world around them cannot perceive it.
This is the time in our service when we center ourselves together. We breathe together. And breathing in and out, we sense one another's loving presence. Breathing in, breathing out, we follow our breath to a deeper place inside, a place of greater wisdom, a place where a fierce divine love flows through each of us. And breathing together, we enter into a time of sacred silence, remembering we also hold sacred human sounds, including those of small children. Breathing in, breathing out, we enter a time of sacred silence together. I invite you now to light candles if you're so moved. Candles representing sorrow, joy, hope, remembrance, resilience, whatever may be on your heart at this time. As we light our candles, our hearts break this morning. We cry out with moral outrage over the literal starvation of human beings in Gaza. As we light our candles, we also hold in our minds and hearts members of this community who are ill or in sorrow, as well as those who are celebrating joys. Continuing the sacred quiet as our music plays and those who are moved to do so light candles, let us hold the meditative quiet throughout, including when our music comes to an end. Now we light one last candle for all those for whom there is no one to light a candle. There are two things that people crave: the full realization of their innate gifts, and to have these gifts approved, acknowledged, and confirmed. I love that statement from our reading earlier. And given our current societal and political situation, I don't know about you all, but for me, it can feel like, as the author pointed out, those innate gifts are being stifled. Anyone besides me feel like living under the threat of rising fascism can be challenging to our psychological well-being and spiritual development? Yeah. Well, today we have some terrific folks who are going to testify about how participating in or even leading one of the small group ministries our church offers can provide a sense of connection and belonging. These groups provide a space where folks can talk honestly and vulnerably about some of the most vital and meaningful aspects of life, where folks can perceive and then approve, acknowledge, and confirm one another's unique inner power and authority. I am delighted to invite these folks to share with you their experiences with our Chalice Circle and Wellspring small group ministries.
Hi, I'm Signe, and I know I'm not on the Epstein files, so that's all right. But I'm here, so this is good. Wellspring was my first introduction to small group ministry in 2021 as a participant. After that, I signed up for Chalice Circle and recently co-led a group. And I see some of my members out here, so that's kind of fun. Some of you may have seen me sitting over there near the candles and natural light. I've smiled and waved and shook the hands of many fellow UUers during the beginning of the service. Thus, my smaller UU community started, the ones that like to sit in the same place. Yes, we sat, sang, and stood together, but that was not the deeper connection I desired. It was during a homily someone else spoke about being in a Chalice Circle and how that impacted them and their UU faith. That sounded like something I needed to hear at the time, thus starting my UU spiritual journey. So I signed up for Wellspring. This group explores in-depth UU spirituality practices within safe, structured group format as designed by Parker Palmer. Learning by doing, deep listening and spiritual reflection within the group process requires dedication. Practices shared were drafting a group covenant, learning to craft a personal prayer, and how art, music, and movement are essential to a spiritual practice. My inner Catholic contemplative mystic found this type of soul work familiar, now fueled with UU spiritual practices and like-minded people. My journey of self-transcendence continues with a spiritual director, also called companion, from resources provided by Wellspring. Well, Wellspring requires a commitment of self-discipline and time for deep reflection and spiritual practice. The following year, I needed something lighter and signed up for Chalice Circle, which directly relates to the monthly topics of the church. Chalice Circle continues to use safe group practices while reflecting and sharing about the church's monthly themes. Each year, the themes change based on practices of our faith, values, and principles, like practicing resistance and cultivating compassion. Monthly materials are provided via packets that are 10 to 15 pages long. The contents are carefully curated spiritual questions, exercises, poems, videos, playlists to expand on the church's theme. I found them worth saving for self-reflection, thus building my online spiritual library. One of the past spiritual questions from the Path of Belonging packet in 2022 was, when was the first time you thought to yourself, now I belong. And because of Wellspring and Chalice Circle, I believe now I belong here. Thank you.
So great to hear other people talk about things that you're involved in. So good morning, I'm Peggy Morton. I use she, her pronouns. I'm white. I stand 5 feet 7 inches tall, have short curly hair, different colors, kind of like my tortoiseshell cat, Toodles. And I'm wearing one of my favorite Mexican dresses with colorful embroidery on a white background. And I'm honored to have time to talk to you a little bit about my Wellspring experience, the Wellspring Love at the Center experience. So I've been a part of this First UU community for 29 years and have attended 2 Chalice Circles over the years, organized several social justice activities, and I'm not sure why it took me so long to finally sign up last spring for a Wellspring class. But I'm truly glad I did, and I must say it's been the most enlightening experience I've had in this community. I need to admit, I was not excited when our national denomination decided to go with this Article 2, because I thought I was very grounded in UU theology from our 8 principles. But embracing this Wellspring Love at the Center class, where we met twice a month for 6 months, opened my eyes and heart more deeply to UU theology, both historically and into today. And I now understand Article 2 better, and I like it. Both the Reverend Carrie Holly Hurt and a relatively new UU, Melanie Caulfield, guided us through this work in a way that I learned more about myself, 6 other attendees, and our facilitators in community together. After each meeting the next day, we would be emailed the readings that we were supposed to read and journal about and prepare for our next meeting. Obviously, we had 2 weeks to do this, which gave me a lot of time to read and think. But at the next gathering, I would always hear a variety of perspectives about the lessons. And I have to admit, sometimes I would think, did I misunderstand what we were supposed to do? But in reality, what it was, I eventually realized that we as individuals were gathered in community and embracing pluralism, a new term to me from Article 2. And we shared from all of our different experiences, our different backgrounds and perspectives, coexisting quite like that interdependent web of existence that we learned about long ago when my spouse Fred and I first came to this church together, and we only had 7 principles at that time. So I had known personally that having taken a sabbatical from teaching to live in Ecuador for a year, having returned to continue teaching high school journalism, and to eventually add or start specializing in teaching English as a second language for the last 8 years of my teaching career, that I had lived experiences working with people from different backgrounds. After retirement, I stepped into voluntarily teaching adults English as a second language, and eventually into advocating for human rights, first in solidarity with unhoused people, then immigrants, then formerly incarcerated people. And I knew that I had learned from them about coexisting and embracing the lessons they had taught me in our interdependent web. Yet through our Wellspring group, I saw better that even when so many of us in this sanctuary today may seem like we're all the same, we too have equally different backgrounds as we seek understanding from each and every individual who we meet. We're bringing to life that spark of the divine that we UUs like to say we were all born with. And I'm grateful for the many lessons I've learned and those that I still have to learn. And I appreciate each of you for listening to me today. I hope several of you will find or be able to make happen the time to explore and join a Wellspring class.
Hello, I'm Doug Gower, a white man in his 70s with very white hair, wearing a Guayabera-style shirt over blue jeans. Thank you, Reverend Chris, for asking me to speak about Chalice Circles. They say Unitarian Universalism is a process theology, not a belief one. Thus, a Chalice Circle emphasizes not inculcating religious beliefs, but discovering and practicing our own. What is that focus? To me, it's the beloved community, in the form of getting to better to know a small subset of our church congregants. A Chalice Circle is an intentional gathering for spiritual reflection. It is covenanted. That means anything discussed in the group stays confidential in the group. Each session starts with lighting the chalice. In our case, that was a 99-cent plastic battery candle that one of our two wonderful leaders would switch on with a laugh. A Chalice Circle is not a debate club. Neither is it a therapy group. Although, being human, we always make some time for bitching and complaining. It's real human beings sitting across from each other. Above all, it's personal. It's not performance. It's not social media. It's often said that people underneath are surprisingly alike, but we're also surprisingly, amazingly different. I met someone in our group who had traveled the world for years, every continent, with little money, often sleeping outside in fields or under orchard trees on cold ground. I found that amazing. The only way you'd get me to sleep on an air mattress is if it were inflated on top of a king-size bed in a nice hotel with a bar. In a Chalice Circle, we discover that we are alike and unique. Everyone has good days and bad days. You are privileged over the monthly meetings to witness these human ebbs and flows. In the Chalice Circle, after some deep breaths, we take refuge. On the good days, we laugh a lot, out loud, gales of it. We learn to better know some of our fellow UUers. As much to the point, we get to know ourselves. There's a Chalice workbook. Its exercises change monthly. I'm 74 years old. The last time I did a workbook was the 3rd grade. Was I ready for this? Each month has a cover illustration. One was joy. It pictured a guy in a wheat field wearing a hipster hat playing a saxophone. I had a little trouble with that one. For one thing, I don't play a sax. For another, my beard really doesn't grow a good soul patch. So maybe extravagant jubilation under exotic conditions isn't the whole point. Some workbook questions were subtle, others, honestly, a bit simplistic. But the group's discussions never were. Joy, I learned, could be many things. Working in a garden. Or just stopping, taking a moment in the middle of a hot parking lot on a tough day with troubles of your own to look up and see sunlight shifting through trees. In Chalice circles, we are not alone with our thoughts. In our Chalice circle, the closest thing to an electronic device is the 99-cent battery candle. In those 90 minutes, its scrawny flicker makes for not just a safe space, but a sacred one. Americans are quick to focus on individual desires rather than the needs of the community, says Scott Hayes, a clinical psychologist. Looking around, I see people from my Chalice circle right now, especially if I wasn't wearing my reading glasses. When I spot you in the pews or in the hallways, we often say hello or stop and chat. But seeing you, I always think, there's people I know. There's my community. The Chalice Circle is a UU program that helps make more real the beloved community. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Nancy, and as many of you know, I'm in the long process of preparing to go before the Ministerial Fellowshipping Committee, a committee that will ultimately determine whether or not I'm fit to serve as a Unitarian Universalist minister. Now, the majority of people who choose this route also choose to attend one of the two Unitarian Universalist seminaries, Starr King or Meadville Lombard. And most can anticipate leaving these seminaries with a strong sense of what it means to be a Unitarian Universalist. But unfortunately, I did not have that luxury. As a mom of 3, I'm unwilling to relocate, and my budget is tight. I know there are educational opportunities online, but trying to find privacy in a house of 5 is a near impossible task. So instead, I opted to attend Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary, which is a Christian seminary here in town. At Austin Seminary, I was constantly making note of the differences between their faith and ours. And so I left feeling like I had a pretty good grounding in UU theology. But then I began to worry. As you can imagine, there is much speculation about what candidates will be asked by the Ministerial Fellowshipping Committee. And my fellow seminarians and I soon began to suspect that we'd be expected to prove our grounding in UU theology, specifically because we had attended a Christian seminary. And so, to cover my bases, I decided that I'd better take as many adult RE classes as possible. And soon, I found myself co-facilitating the Wellspring Sources group with another one of my fellow UU seminarians, Zach Havenwood. Now, I thought I had a good understanding of my UU identity, but Sources made me realize the depth and breadth of our theology. The Wellspring Sources group explores each source in detail, complete with readings, essays, music, and of course, small group discussions. The class significantly deepened my appreciation of this faith, and it actually strengthened my commitment to this congregation, which is truly a statement I never anticipated saying. I've always been very suspicious of organized religion in general, and I've always bristled about being told what to do and what to believe. Indeed, for as long as I can remember, I've always believed in the subjectivity of truth, which in most religious traditions is problematic. But our sources support this belief and celebrates the many different ways that people make sense of the universe. For me, our sources go far in explaining who we are as a religious body. In fact, I often rely on our sources when I give people my elevator pitch for being a UU. I guess it makes sense then that Sources is the foundational Wellspring group. It is a prerequisite for most of the other courses. In addition to exploring each source, I learned so much about myself and about my fellow group members throughout the entire class. It made me realize and appreciate the diversity of beliefs within this congregation. And it allowed me to form friendships with fellow congregants, something that can be challenging when you're in a church as big as ours. I enjoyed the Wellspring Sources group so much that I went on to co-facilitate spiritual practices with fellow church member John Scott in the newest Wellspring offering, Love at the Center, with Zach, once again, as my co-facilitator. And I've left each of these experiences with new friends, a better understanding of my biases, and a deep understanding of just how rich our faith really is. As an added bonus, I started seeing a spiritual director, namely the Reverend Kathleen Ellis, who is also a member of this church. The Wellspring groups encourage participants to take part in spiritual direction, and I can honestly say that spiritual direction has been life-changing for me. It has taught me much about the importance of presence and deep listening. I can't say enough about the great experiences that the groups offer. So instead, I'll simply invite you to experience it yourselves firsthand. This fall, I invite you to deepen your UU identity, to make new self-discoveries, and to get to know the members of this church a little bit better. All this and more awaits you. Thanks.
Thank you so much to each of you for sharing those moving and informative experiences this morning. And if after hearing these folks, you might be interested in getting involved in a small group ministry, a special email announcement will be coming out later this afternoon, or you can go to www.austinuu.org and get more information on how to get involved in a Chalice Circle or Wellspring small group. From our Universalist heritage, we draw that sense that a river of divine love flows through our universe and through each of us. Small group ministries are one way in which we can help each other find channels for the expression of that divine love in our world, not in the abstract, but in the here and now, in this world as we find it. Our small groups are a way that together we can combine those rivers into oceans of fierce love for our times. Now, please rise in either body or spirit, and let us sing together hymn number 1007 from the Till Hymnal, There's a River Flowing in My Soul.
that river got a little wavy. Please join me now in the words by which we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we are together again.
As we go back out into our world today, may we carry with us the love of this, our beloved religious community. May we center our lives in love, just as we center our faith in love. May the melody flowing through our souls be a river of love that carries us forward until next we gather our spirits again. May the congregation say Amen, Amen. And blessed be. Blessed be. Go in peace.